In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most beneficent. Dear and potential students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Nasser, lecturer, English Department, Kohat, University of Science and Technology, Kohat. Subject is Study Skills. Subject code is ENG 112. Lecture 25. Topic is vocabulary. Outlines of this online class are definitions of vocabulary, importance of vocabulary, how to improve vocabulary, and references. Learning objectives of this online class. By the end of today's session, students will be able to know the definitions of vocabulary, to know the importance of vocabulary, to understand different techniques of learning vocabulary. There are some definitions of vocabulary which are very much important to know before the commencement of other material. Vocabulary is the body of words used in a language. So when the words are used in any language, they are called vocabulary. According to Merriam-Webster dictionary, vocabulary is a list of collection of words or of words and phrases, usually alphabetically arranged and explained or defined. Or we can say that the stock of words used in a particular field. Or the words which are used in any language are called vocabulary. Importance of vocabulary. It goes without saying, vocabulary is very much important. Without vocabulary, no one can understand reading or no one can write correctly. So, vocabulary is the building blocks of a language. Without a sufficient understanding of words, you cannot understand others or express your own ideas. Vocabulary is intimately connected to both effective reading and writing skills. Students require to see, read, and interact from 5 to 7 times before the vocabulary or the words are admitted to the long-term memory. If these words are not repeated from 5 to 7 times, there are more chances that these words will be forgot. It is not possible to retain them. Words are more easily and quickly learned if you are active, if you write your own definitions of the words, and if you think of an example sentences to use these words, because The usage of words in sentences will help you a lot to memorize them effectively. It means they become the permanent part of your memory. And this is better than simply writing the word over and over again. Because by writing words, we do not retain them for longer time. Vocabulary is important for success. Vocabulary gives you the ability to say what you mean. By having several words at your disposal for describing an event or emotion, they can be explicit when sharing your ideas and opinions. So, vocabulary plays an important role for succeeding or for success in any field. Vocabulary bolsters your ability. The greater number of words you have, the more you can interpret ideas from others. Whenever you have vast vocabulary, you will not run short of words. You will have different vocabulary for different purposes. So, it is one of the best tools to bolster your ability. Vocabulary helps you understand what other people say. Vocabulary is the foundation of comprehension. Comprehension is not possible without having vocabulary. Unfamiliar words become holes in the text, which prevent you from completely understanding what you have just read. A reader cannot comprehend whatever he or she reads or listens. A good understanding of vocabulary builds a bridge between the reader and writer. Vocabulary boosts your power of persuasion. Having a rich vocabulary will help you communicate in a more engaging way. You can gain the power of convincing, the power of persuasion with the help of gigantic vocabulary. Relying on one or two words to describe an idea will be repetitive and not persuasive. So, the readers cannot be persuaded, or the listeners cannot be persuaded by the repetition. And when there are a vast vocabulary, there will be a lot of chances to persuade others. Vocabulary helps you make a good impression. Having a rich vocabulary constitutes a big part of the impression on others. Vast vocabulary impresses the listeners as well as the readers. So, to create a positive and good impression on others, it is important for a student to build the vocabulary. Dear listeners, there are some techniques to improve vocabulary. The first one is read every day. As we know that vocabulary can make your writing more powerful and more effective. Vocabulary is an indispensable tool which will help you choose the best word for every job and avoid vague words that do not your readers a good sense of your meaning. Building your vocabulary is one of the easiest ways to improve the power of your writing task that much easier. So developing your vocabulary need not to be difficult or painful. As we know that reading every day will open the doors of learning of new vocabularies. Try to read a well-written and edited essay, magazine article, book or news article every day. Notification and technical books will quickly teach you new ways to think and speak with words you may be unfamiliar with. But any type of reading will help you a lot in developing the vocabulary. Reading is one of the best tools to develop new vocab. Lexicographer endorses to read for developing new vocabulary. Develop practical vocabulary. This means you should start by learning words that express what's important to you for the task at hand. A good example of this is learning trade language or words you use often in a hobby or vocation, rather than immediately turning to cliches or jargon that's tossed around. Look for clearer words to express to peers what you're writing about. Learn new words every day. To improve your vocabulary quickly, make an effort to learn at least one new word every day. You should increase in your vocabulary by learning every day new words. There are plenty of ways to do this, such as a word of the day calendar, or email list, or simply picking a word from a thesaurus or dictionary. Keep a journal. Journals won't just help you develop your writing style. It will also help you improve your vocabulary. Try to use new or interesting words you have learned recently into a journal entry for the day or for the week. Visualize new words. Research shows that visualization is a great way to remember new words and their meanings. A good example of this is the word stratovolcano, which is a high, pointed mountain with a violent explosion. One way to remember this meaning is the fact that the prefix strato sounds straight O, which may make you think of a straight ruler, or straight O volcano, which describes the word's definition. Look up words you don't know. How often do you come across words that are unfamiliar to you as you read? Do not just gloss over them. Do not neglect them. Take the time to look them up in dictionaries. And if you don't have time right now, then write them down and look them up later in the dictionary. Learn the stress patterns. As any learner of English knows, recognizing the stress or loudest part within a word in English is very important. To identify the stress in a word, you first have to identify how many syllables or separate sound group it has. In English, each vowel sound is in a separate sound group. So, radio has 3 syllables. Radio. Then you need to identify the loudest syllable. In radio, the stress is on the first syllable. Identifying stress is important because change and stress can change the meaning of the word. For example, present. This is a word. When we stress on the first syllable, then it is a noun. But if we stress on the second syllable, for example, present, then it is a verb. Learn word families. Word families are groups of words which share the same base or root. By recording your vocabulary in word families, it is easy to build up your stock of words quickly. Remember how to make a note of the word class of each word. Look at this example. Photograph. It's a noun related to a thing. Photograph. It's a verb. When the stress is on the second syllable. Photographer. It is a noun related to a person. Photographic. It is an adjective. Photo. It's a noun, abbreviation of photograph. By learning the word families, we can develop our vocabulary to a greater extent. So, we should always try to find the root of the word and then the words related to it. References: slideshare.net/mobile, the k5learning.blog. Thank you very much.